Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Pause Challenge Day 3, and I'm so excited to be here with you. So, just in case you haven't been a part of the Pause Challenges with me, pausing is all about taking 10 minutes to just relax, take a deep breath, pause, and ask yourself a question or think about something that's important to you and start getting the answers about what's important to you, about what's most important to you from the inside out. Now, I got this pause idea from exercises that I had been doing with my clients for a number of years. And what it really stems from is asking yourself a question about something that's important to you and then really stopping to get the answers from it. And I'd been doing it for so many years, and my clients were like, Monica, you have to put this somewhere. We have to be able to collect them so we can do them anytime and all the time. And I was like, okay, great. So I have created my pause book. And the pause book is all about 52 questions that lead to more money and time. And I know it's backwards, and you can probably read it backwards here, but what this book is it's full of exercises and questions to help you take a moment to pause and really think about what's most important in your life. Now, the pause challenge is 10 days of pausing with me. So everybody, let's just take a moment, take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. And take a third deep breath. Now, today's topic is all about intuition. Now, here's what's interesting about intuition is we often have hindsight is 2020 when it comes to intuition. It's like you go to a restaurant and that little voice in your head is saying, order the potatoes, and then you order the broccoli or something that you think would be good for you, and you end up not enjoying it, and you think to yourself, why didn't I listen to my intuition and order the potatoes? Happens to us all the time. And what I've noticed is that we struggle not only with listening to our intuition, but also what I call time to intuition, which is the time that it takes to get to your intuition. Like from the moment you hear an intuitive voice that's telling you something to the moment where you get to act upon it, that's what I call time to intuition. And the goal is to always work towards decreasing the time to intuition. Now, I wrote a lot about intuition in this book, and I have a particular exercise that I wanted to talk about today, which is really getting you and me, for all of us, to think about how does our particular intuitive voice work? Because everybody's intuitive voice is different. And for a long time, I used to think that my intuitive voice wasn't very strong because I don't actually hear conversations in my head. It's not like I hear somebody saying to me, Monica, call this person, or Monica, teach this topic, or Monica, do this thing. I don't hear that at all. And so for a long time, I thought, oh, I don't have a very strong intuition, or I'm not very empathic or spiritual or connected. And it took me a long time to realize that my intuition actually works differently. I call it sort of like the egg drop, like the chicken coop. The way my intuition works is that when I get a thought, I have to open my mouth and I have to start speaking. So if I'm in an event and I'm teaching people stuff and I'm following my intuition, I have to completely trust that I'm totally connected. And then I have to open my mouth and I have to speak. And then in the speaking of whatever it is that I'm supposed to be teaching, all of a sudden I realize, oh my gosh, that was my intuition speaking, because the people in the room totally love it. And It feels a little bit like, you know, in a chicken house they have those like things where chickens lay an egg and the eggs roll out onto like a ramp, and then you can collect the eggs at the bottom. That's a little bit how my intuition works. Is it's like I have to just trust that it's going to come in, then I have to open my mouth and I have to speak, and it's like an egg just rolling out of my mouth. And for a long time I really resisted that because it required so much courage and faith and trust to be able to just walk out onto a stage or walk out in front of a room and trust that the egg was going to flow out, that the intuition was going to come out. Now, I've gotten better and better at it over the years, especially since I had the realization that I just had to trust that I knew what my intuitive voice was saying. It was a knowingness and a trusting of that knowingness that then got translated into a verbal knowingness. For many of you, maybe you relate to that sort of intuition where you don't necessarily feel like you have a vision, but you just have to sort of trust and then follow a sort of knowingness within you. Now, some of you may have your intuitive voice work differently. Some of you may actually hear things, like you hear a voice in your head, or you have a conversation with yourself about how your intuition is working, and then you have to listen to that voice. Some of you may see things, like you may see a vision or a color, or you may see signs on the street. I have a client that's always taking pictures of bumper stickers and license plates and signs, or she sees movies, and within the movies there's messages for her, and that's how her intuitive voice speaks to her. Or maybe it comes through people, through things that people say to you. Know that the key thing here is that there's no right and wrong as to where your intuition is coming from. It's all about awareness. And some of you have multiple different ways. Sometimes it's visual, sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's audio. You know, it really varies, and it depends on the moment. So as we reflect here in a pause moment, everybody take another deep breath with me. And another deep breath. And then just close your eyes with me for a moment. And then I want you to ask yourself, just in your brain, I want you to ask yourself, how does my intuition speak to me? How does my intuition speak to me? Now, some of you may have gotten an answer, like I show you things, or through people, or through verbal messages. Some of you may have seen an image. Go ahead and take a pen and paper if you've got one right now, and I want you to answer the question, how does my intuition speak to me? And just write out whatever comes to you. Don't edit, don't try to make it right. Don't reread it. Just write out whatever comes to you in the moment. And then the last thing I want you to think about in this pause moment with me is I want you to think of the last time, or just the last time you remember your intuition speaking to you. What did it say to you? And maybe it didn't speak to you. Maybe it showed you something, or maybe you knew something. What was going on in that particular moment? I know for me, just now, I was having an intuitive nudge about my sister. She's actually looking for new things in her career, and she was asking us advice, and I had an intuitive nudge about what she would like versus what she didn't like. But I actually didn't have the permission necessarily to be able to say that to her, because she wasn't directly asking for my sort of intuitive hit on it. She was sort of asking to be heard. And so it was interesting, because sometimes with your intuition, you have permission to speak it, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get intuitive hits on things and they're appropriate to speak out loud and share with people, and sometimes they're not. And what I challenge you to do for the rest of today, the rest of tomorrow, is start to bring to your awareness how your intuition is speaking to you. and start to shorten your time to intuition. Meaning, when you feel that intuitive nudge or you hear that intuitive voice, how quickly can you get up and act upon it? Because the more you do that, the more free your intuitive voice is going to become, and the more your intuitive nudges are going to come and help to support you in your business and in your life. People ask me all the time, Monica, what's the most important thing that I can do to really grow my business quickly? And gosh, I can answer that question in so many ways. But one of the most important pieces is to stop and listen to your intuition. Because if you've got 15 people to follow up with, for sure your intuition is going to tell you which one to start with. If you've got 3 different networking organizations that you could go to, for sure your intuition has an opinion about which one would be the best. And it's a matter of training ourselves to get quiet, to listen to our intuition, and then to trust our intuition and to act on it. And this takes practice, guys. It's not like some people, this is one of those skills. It's a skill just like anything else that you learn in your business or in your life. Learning to listen to it, to then to trust it, and then to act upon it. There are going to be times when it's quote unquote right, and then there's times when it's quote unquote wrong. And you're going to get better at discerning around your intuition and trusting yourself in the process, the more you can hear it or see it. And the first step is to just figure out, how does it appear for me? Do I see things? Do I hear things? Do I know things? Do I feel things in my body? And that's the first step to really consistently starting to be aware of it. Thank you, guys. And if you're wondering where this exercise comes from, or if you can, write or learn more about it, I want to invite you to join me in my Pause for Profit program. It's based on my Pause book. What we've done is, because so many people were asking me if we could do the book together, if we could all pause together, I created a 4-week program where we're pausing each week to contemplate how to trust ourselves more deeply and how to find the answers that are really the best for us on a deep, intuitive, and soul level. And that's what Pause for Profit's all about. I put the link in the comments, so I invite you to join me if you feel like you want to go deeper here. And in the meantime, leave me a comment. Let me know how you see your intuition, how you hear it, and how you feel it. And I'd love to open a discussion around it. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day.